Second game of the Premier League season then for Manchester United away in Wales at Swansea. Manchester United done well at Swansea last season. Got a really comfortable 3-1 victory there. Really pleased with that last year. Pogba scoring an absolute screamer there. Zlatan ending a goal drought he had where people were starting to write him off, and he got a brace in that game. Two great strikes as well. So Manchester United winning their last season, and I think this time around, on paper, Manchester United look to have improved, and Swansea actually don't look to me as big a threat this season as they did then. They've lost Sigurdsson, he's gone to Everton, and Llorente is out, apparently injured, so that is two massive players for Swansea going into this game. They would have been their two biggest threats for me. We've had some problems with Swansea over the years. At Old Trafford, we've lost to them and all sorts. So going into this game in the past, I wouldn't have been overly confident, but Manchester United looked awesome against West Ham. But then again, I thought we looked similar to that last season, to be honest. We've just putting the chances to bed, and this time we put 4 chances away in that game. Could have obviously had more, but last season we've had chances against the likes of Burnley and these sort of sides that we just couldn't swat aside. This one though is away from home. Manchester United did quite well on the road last season, and going into this game, every Manchester United fan has got to be confident going into this match. I know it's the old cliche, we could go and end up having a stupid 0-0 or something, but we can't afford to have a bad result in this tie. It is on paper should be a winnable game for Manchester United, but in the Premier League you never get given anything. You have to work so hard to win every single match in the Premier League, and this is going to be no different. But I'm confident if Manchester United's players, besides Lukaku, can turn up this season and score goals. I'm expecting Lukaku to get 20 plus league goals, no doubt, unless he gets injured. So it is the other players around him that have got to chip in with the goals. As I said in the last video, after the West Ham game, and even before the West Ham game, that was my biggest concern. And when we went 2-0 up with Lukaku scoring both of them, I was a bit nervous and hopeful in that game that we could get some goals from other areas of the pitch. And two of the players that I wanted to see score, besides the only other one would have been Marcus Rashford. If he'd got his goal when he hit the post, then it would have been 5-0 would have been the most perfect game start to the season for me we could have ever dreamt of, because Pogba really desperately needed a goal, because he needs to be hitting sort of 10-15 goals in all competitions I think this season, and needs a good start to the season. Martial really needed that goal, and then I would have loved to have seen obviously Marcus Rashford get a goal, even though he's probably not under so much pressure as them two in order to score a goal, because his performances have been good, and he was good in that game and did create the first goal and obviously hit the post in that other one. But I would have loved to have obviously seen him score as well. But the main two that really needed to score were Martial and Pogba, because Martial has been very inconsistent for Manchester United over the last year, but is a fantastic talent, and hopefully he can fulfil his potential. We've seen a lot of players over the years not fulfil their potential when they've had massive potential, which is a bit worrying. But if he can get more consistent this season, maybe hit 10-15 league goals at a push, if played regularly he could potentially do that, but then again if played regularly he could score 5 league goals. You just never know. But he got a goal and an assist in that game. He got a decent number of assists last season. It was just he needed to probably score a few more goals. And considering the amount of games that Martial and Rashford play in the season, alright, Martial didn't play quite so many last season, but the previous season he did play a lot of games. I know it was his debut season, but they've got to be hitting 15-20 league goals in all competitions, at least one of the two, for me, for it to be a successful season for either of them two youngsters. Because you look at last season, probably Rashford's goal tally could probably have been slightly higher last season, if you're being totally critical, because he did play a lot of games against the likes of Northampton and that in the FA Cup. If they play against the lesser teams as well, which Manchester United should be playing around 50 games again this season, they should be hitting 15-20 goals in all competitions. At least two of them, probably all three of them players, need to be getting into the 10 goals. Pogba, Martial and Rashford for Manchester United to really push for the title this season, because we can't be relying solely on Lukaku to get all the big share of the goals this season. Certainly not until Zlatan comes back in December, because Manchester United could be out of the race if Lukaku's the main guy that's just getting the majority. Obviously we want him to be the main guy and be getting a lot of goals, but we also do want the other players to chip in. As I said in the last video, Mata, our second top scorer, was with 6 goals in the Premier League. That's just not good enough. You see down the years, Rooney was second top scorer each season with about 16, 17 goals behind a leading goal scorer, obviously a Van Nistelrooy or a Ronaldo or someone like that was getting around 20, 25 league goals. So we've got to get that second goal scorer up, tally up for the second goal scorer in the Manchester United team, and we'll be fine. And I would hopeful that one of them players can step up to the mark this weekend when we play Swansea City. I don't think they're a very good side. As I say, they were struggling to start last season. They had a bit of a revival last season when they changed manager, and they just managed to, they did well to stay up in the end. I thought they were going to get relegated. They stayed up, but I wouldn't expect them to do that well this season, not being horrible, but I just think they're not got a very good team and probably will be fighting down near the bottom. And I think they probably will stay up, but I think they're going to probably struggle down the bottom somewhere, and it could be tight at the bottom for them and could go to the wire. So I'm expecting Manchester United to win. Hopeful Lukaku can get another goal and keep up his goal scoring tally. This is sort of the perfect sort of game for Lukaku to get another goal. He tends to get a lot of goals against these sort of sides, which that's what it's all about in the Premier League. I said this when we signed him. Maybe he hasn't done anything in the Champions League yet because he hasn't played in there, hasn't scored always against the elite, the top teams. But if you want to win the Premier League, you've got to be scoring week in, week out against these crap teams in order to win it. Ronaldo was the master at it when he was in the Premier League, scoring against your bottom teams, because the majority of the games are against your Stokes, your Swanseas, these sort of teams. You only play a few games against the likes of Tottenham, your Man Cities, so you've got to be consistently beating these smaller teams, which was where we fell so short in previous seasons. Even under Van Gaal, we beat the top teams, but if you fall short in so many smaller games, then you're going to come unstuck. So I'm expecting Manchester United to win this game. I'm going to go for Manchester United winning this game 2-0. I'm hopeful for another clean sheet. With Matic in there, he was so fantastic against West Ham. It will hopefully give Manchester United's defenders some boost. Now, as far as the team lineup goes, I would expect Jose Mourinho to keep it pretty much, I would say, the same starting lineup as against West Ham. I wouldn't expect much change in the starting lineup. I mean, he may choose to bring Martial in place of Rashford, but I can't really see it, to be honest. Or maybe he will choose to bring Jesse Lingard in, but that's probably about the only change I can see him doing. I can't really see him changing the back four, or I can't really see him changing Matic or Pogba in the midfield at all. Mkhitaryan was decent in that game, causing all sorts of problems. So, to be honest, Rashford caused a lot of problems in that second half against West Ham. So, I don't really see the reason to change a winning side, but one of the wide forward players would be the only real places I could see it, barring any injuries, that is. If we've got any injuries, then obviously that is a problem. But the likes of Jones and Bailey at the back weren't really troubled against West Ham. That is the only problem. But I would expect them to keep their place while we kept a clean sheet. Anyway, make sure to like the video. Let me know your score predictions in the comment section below. And I will talk to you all again soon. See ya.